Hello, everybody, and welcome to The Vibe with Kai. This is a new web series called Kyrus Has Friends, where I get to sit and have nice conversations with my friends, the people that I admire, the people that I look up to, the people that I just enjoy being around. And today we have a really, really special show for you today. But before we get into who we have, really quick little plug here. If you enjoy watching anything that you're seeing today, be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Vibe with Kai, or you can follow me on Snapchat at Kyrus Keenan. For those of you that follow me on Snapchat already, you know that I have a rule that whenever you send me a Snapchat of you smiling, I always send you a Snapchat of me smiling back at you. I am a true believer that smiles should be shared with everybody. So if you send me a Snapchat of you smiling, I promise you at some point I will send one back to you. Also, you could follow me on TikTok at Kyrus Keenan. I go live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. where we celebrate different artists. Most recently, we did a 90s night. Last week, we did 2000s hip hop and R&B. We did Bruno Mars, Usher. We do all of that stuff, and we just jam out every Wednesday at 8 o'clock p.m. And then last but not least, you can visit my website at thevibewithkai.com. I put up blogs and, just things that'll help you feel a little bit better, things that'll help you be good, and things that'll help you feel good. So that's my whole vibe there. For those of you that know me, you guys already know that. But let's get into why I'm super excited today. Today, joining us on episode 2 of Kyrus Has Friends is my good friend, Jared Milian. Hi, Jared.
Hi, thank you for having me. That was a fun intro.
Oh, thanks, man. I'm so excited. I adore you. And this is so cool. I'm so excited that we get to chat. So for those of you that don't know Jared is a brilliant actor, singer, performer, person, just an all around, just beautiful, beautiful person. And he actually won Icon 2018, right? I believe.
Yeah, 2018. It's confusing because you win at the end of a calendar year, and then you're the icon. Your title is the icon of the calendar year that you won, but you reign REIGN, you reign the following year. So it's I was the icon 2018, but my show was in 2019.
Got it. All right, that makes sense. So we're definitely going to be talking a little bit about that because I have some questions for you there. But before we get into that, I mean, how are you? With this whole just quarantine and just life, what is it? How's it been for you?
It's pretty good. I mean, as good as can be expected. I think I try every day in the morning. I wake up really before anybody else in my house. I live with my brother, who and also my boyfriend.
Another brilliant performer. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so fair. But yeah, so I live with my brother and my boyfriend. So I usually wake up first. So I try to in the morning, just I know it sounds a little dramatic, but I kind of just give myself that there are so many people right now that are worse off than me. So I'm to be depressed or to be upset or to be angry about the circumstance that I'm in, I feel is an insult to people that are in life-ending or life-changing circumstances. Whereas I'm blessed that I can still afford my apartment, and I'm blessed that I have a supportive family, and there's 3 of us that live here. So it's worst case scenario, we have each other's backs. So if something happens where it's hey, I need some help, we're always going to help each other out. So I think gratitude is really something that has really moved to the forefront of my everyday kind of way of thinking. So it really helps me stay balanced.
Right. And that's important. That's really, really important because I feel nowadays there are a lot of people that don't have that gratitude, right? That don't have, or either they don't appreciate the situation that they're in, knowing that there are people that are probably not in as good as a situation. I'm not trying to compare situations for people, but if you're able to have a roof over your head right now and food to eat and able to provide for yourself and others, that's a win, right now, because it's hard for a lot of people out there right now, and we're all hustling. We are all hustling.
I think it's important to, can I curse? Am I allowed to curse or no?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's important to differentiate bad shit and the worst shit. So it's because I'm the first one when someone's well, it could be worse. I'm do you think that's a helpful statement? That's not helping me. But I also think it's important to really be able to identify is this the absolute worst shit that could be happening to me, or is this just bad shit that I have to kick through? And I
Right.
think once you are able to determine, like, I can just push through this, it's really, I'm not saying you always have to like have everybody else's circumstances at the forefront of, excuse me, of your mind. But I think once you're able to like really figure out what it is that's happening to you and where that falls on the line of like, is this the worst thing that could be happening? Is this the middle? Is this really just a slight inconvenience? I think it's much easier to be like, okay, I can move through this, and then have a little bit more appreciation for other
Right.
people.
Right. So
Because
you mentioned your brother and your boyfriend, and I know your family as well. So how have they been, just supporting you and like through this, and how have you been supporting that? Have you guys been like relying on each other for a lot of things?
yeah, I mean, I think that we are really, when it comes to like the unit that lives here, like me, my boyfriend, and my brother, I think that we're just all like, we all have such busy lives. So I think that like it's actually we're spending a lot more time together. We're like watching like movies at night and like enjoying dinners together. So I think we have like this, we've always been close, but I think now with the circumstances, we're getting to spend a little bit more time together. And I think that everyone is really making a conscious effort to, I don't want to say not get annoyed with one another, but I think is making like a conscious effort to like not sweat like the small stuff, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like, I think it's more like, hey, like, like there's no reason to argue over the garbage or the dishes. It's like something like that. It's like just, it's like where on like a normal day, that's a great argument. But I think like
Right.
on like in this kind of a circumstance, it's like, hey, can you take the garbage out? Like just
Right.
something real small. So I
Right.
think we're trying to support each other more like with patience and just be kinder. And then like my family, like my dad's family and my mom, they're all pretty much like isolated, not really doing anything. They're staying, they're going to the slight places they have to go. My nieces and nephews are all pretty good, and then the Millions are all pretty much hunkered down too. They're all like where they're supposed to be. So everyone's definitely respecting social distancing and quarantine as much as physically possible. Like we still got to go to the grocery store and stuff
Right.
like that.
Right.
But
Right.
I think everyone's doing like the best they can.
Good. So as an artist, I've been talking to a lot of my artist friends, because what I was saying to Brian the other day was that, as artists, I feel like a part of us seems to be missing right now because we don't have the opportunity to go out and, publicly at least, on, like live, do what we have become so accustomed to doing, for pretty much our entire lives. So what have you been doing to kind of like fill that void, over the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, so, like I have like a really unique kind of perspective on like that question, because it's not a long time ago I had to like split my love and my passion for performing with working. So
Mhm.
like a long time ago I had to like, because of my circumstances, I had to be like, one does not equate the other, meaning that like if I'm not professionally being paid to sing, that doesn't mean that I'm not a singer. It doesn't mean that I can't sing. So like this was actually not the hardest transition for me, because I was really able to kind of just like now really sit with myself and be like, okay, like what do you sing for? Why do you sing? Who do you sing for? So it's like easy for me because that's like a place that I've accessed before. And I think like that for me comes just from, like we live in Jersey. It's like an expensive place to live. It's like it's difficult to pursue, and this is no disrespect to people all over the world, but I think it's like on the East Coast, I think it's like it's difficult to pursue a career in performing because there's so many people that want to, and I think there's so many people that there's so much talent here. Everyone always says that, like about Jersey, that there's so much talent, and I think that for me, for a long time ago, had to put my singing and my performing in a place that was really untouchable. So when this kind of happened, I was like, I'm going to sing every day, whether
Yeah.
people are going to hear me, whether they're going to see me. So for a few weeks, I was good. And then I linked up with Julie Galarenzo and
I
Shane.
love her so much. I don't think her and
Yeah.
I have ever like officially met, but one day I'm going to meet her, Julie, and I'm going to give her a hug and be like, "You don't know who I am, but I'm one of your biggest fans."
Yeah, I mean, so I did songs with her
Yes.
I did songs for New World with her back in February, and I had heard a lot of things about her. Like a lot of people had talked to me about her, all good things, of course, but you hear so much about so many people. And then honestly, like working together, it was like, I was like, where has this person been all my life? Like I couldn't, I was so obsessed with her. And like we talk almost every day now, but I
Yeah.
was so obsessed with her. And so I said I wanted to do something. I was like, what can we do, to like give back? So with her, with Julie, and then Shane Long, I'm sure you know, and then we put together this like kind of cabaret version of the last 5 years, and
Right.
we did it as like a benefit for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. And I don't have the exact number, which is so disrespectful, but I think that we raised like definitely over $1,200. I think
Holy
over
cow.
13. Yeah. And
That's so cool.
what was so crazy about it was I wish I had this stuff written down, but I think before the live, because we did it in like a YouTube premiere, so like we had
Right.
filmed it and edited it. My
Right.
friend
Right.
Corey Rebel edited the whole thing for me. Bruce De La Cruz and Nick Kaminsky, they played all the tracks.
Right.
And we
Right.
had like 10 or 11 different singers. And when it like before it even opened, before it even aired, we had like $900. Like before it had even
That's
started.
fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it was kind of like an afterthought. It was like not
Yeah.
not that we didn't want to, but it was like we had a conversation, and Shane and Julie were like, we should donate to a charity. And Julie like got right on it like she does, and she just made this charity page, and like
Right.
immediately people started donating. Like the first day we had over $200.
Right.
So
Right.
it was definitely this kind of feeling of we still get to perform, we still get to share our gifts with other people, but now we're giving back, which is
Right.
almost more than we were really getting to do live performing, because you can't directly tie it to a charity like that. I mean, you
Right.
can, but it's like we perform in theater and we perform around Jersey and the city, where you're kind of just like performing, and people pay
Yeah.
tickets and they go to see a show, and it's
Yeah.
a beautiful experience still. But this was like, we're performing, people are watching, and people are donating. So in
Right.
this time, we've turned this into something that can help people. So
Right.
we're doing another one in June for the Ali Forney Center,
Oh, cool.
which that's like an organization that helps homeless LGBTQ youth and the like. So it's definitely I haven't nailed down the date, but
Yeah.
that's definitely where we're going to donate to. We're getting it all
Oh
set
yeah.
up.
Send it to me. Send me the information
Yeah,
when all of it becomes like official, so that way I can, send it out to my
yeah,
following, and we can get as many people on board with this.
I
I
love
do
that.
want to talk about just you as a singer, because um good sweet Lord baby Jesus. So let me tell you, the first time, and you already know this story, but the first time that I ever saw you or heard you perform, it was a couple of years ago, and I believe Nikki Ash sent me a video. I think it was Nikki. I think she sent me a video of this guy singing "Home" from The Wiz. And now that's one of my favorite songs of like all time. And like it started, it was the whole song, and the song started. I'm like, okay, this guy is singing the Home. All right, he better sing it. He better not even sing. He better sang that song, right? So like, cause I've heard so many like versions of that people have done. So you start singing. I'm like, okay, okay. And then like halfway through, I was like, okay. And then and then at the end, I was like, yes.
Yeah,
Right. And that's the first time I ever saw you perform, and I was like, good Lord, because I was in the competition of Icon at that point too. I don't think I had performed yet in my realm, but I
yeah, it was
remember
the first.
seeing that,
Yeah,
and I was
my
like,
round
oh
was
my
the
God.
first. Yeah,
Yeah.
my round was the first. I did that
Oh
100%
God.
on purpose.
I was like, I saw that, and I was like, oh my sweet Lord baby Jesus. And you were just so good. And
Thank you.
so you ended up going on to we'll get into like the when you won, but I want to talk about
Yeah.
like the journey that you took to get from that point to the finals. Like, what was that process like for you?
Yeah. So I'm the fifth. I think I'm
Mhm.
the fifth winner of Icon. So they had done it like 5 years prior.
Right.
And sorry, my cat is
Oh,
in
don't worry.
my
Well,
boyfriend's
actually,
chasing my.
just for those of you that aren't familiar with Icon, Icon is this
Yeah.
singing competition that Brian Remo and the United States, the Union County Performing Arts Center puts on every year, and it's this brilliant thing where they get a bunch of the best singers from around the state of New Jersey to come into one place and perform all together and do like this really cool singing competition. I don't even know. I mean, it's a competition, sure, but like I just love the fact that you just get all of these beautiful performers all in one spot at one time doing this. And so that's just as a preface. That's
Yeah.
what that
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
So they had done it a few years prior, and I had heard about it, and I had talked to people about it, and it was like something like when it first popped off, like Patrick Starega had reached out to me and had asked me to do it. And Brian and I were those kind of like Jersey theater friends that like knew of each other. Like, I'm sure if we saw each other in the same space, we would say hello to each other. But we weren't really friends. He definitely knew my mom better than he knew me, but even they weren't friends. Like, it was just like a very like, I could
I
pick
know
him out
who
of a
you
lineup.
are, you know who I am. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Very, very much. Kind of like you were saying with Julie, how like you guys like know who each other are, but like So I didn't really like. I really like. I love talking about icons. So get ready.
No, please do.
I hate losing. I really, really do. And it's like a huge area of opportunity for me when it comes. I can absolutely admit that I'm a sore loser, and it's difficult for me to enter into competition settings. Not necessarily like with a guarantee that I'm going to win, but like this, I just don't, for me, like, I don't ever want there to be like any shadow of a doubt that I'm not, that I'm going to lose, you know?
Sure.
But so, and I've had like, you know, I've been singing my whole life. So I've had like some really, really, really close calls with both American Idol, like the old American Idol and The Voice, where I think that anybody that would have experienced the things that I've experienced with them would have thought like, this is it. You know what I mean? And it's like the thing about like competitions like American Idol and The Voice is you can get so close to it and you can get so close and not get it. And the like
it's
kind of
that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. And the hard pill to swallow with that is like there's thousands of other people that are just there with you too. So it's like you're not the only one. So it's like you can't even take it personal. Like The Voice, I'll get into Icon. This is like my most painful story, is like The Voice, I had posted a video like 4 years ago on YouTube just of singing Andra Day's like Rise Up.
Okay.
Like I just posted it. I loved the song. Like it was when the song had like kind of first came out too. So there weren't that many videos of it. And I was like, I love the song. I was feeling it. So I sang it in my kitchen. And that was it. Like 7 months later, I get this email and it's from like a casting director at The Voice. And I'm like, this is fake. I'm like, no, I literally was like, this is fake. I remember like I was living in this apartment. If like I had time, like if I wanted, I could show you exactly where I was standing when I got it. Like, I was like, I got the email and I was like, this is fake. Like, you know what I mean? You're like, this is not real. So I wrote back to her and she was like, hey, we want you. We saw this video of you. We would like to. And the reason that I kind of felt like it was real was they weren't even like, you want $1 million. It was like, she was like, hey, we really want to just like have a conversation with you about if you would be interested in participating in this. Like it was very much like, let's talk. So I called her and we spoke and they offered me like an appointment. And it was very much like a Broadway show, like where like you would go to the appointment. I had an appointment. I brought my mom with me. They send you like a packet prior with like all of these like kind of do's and don'ts. You have to prepare, like you have to prepare 5 songs. You only sing one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you have to prepare 5 songs. You have
like
to
different genres, or like could it all be the same?
That's the problem, is like there's always this like feeling of like, do I follow the rules or do I not follow the rules? And like, so they're very specific with, they don't really want like oldies. They don't really want like, they're also like, they also say to do more up tempos than ballads. They're like, do more up tempos. And I'm assuming that they probably just get such an influx of ballads that they're like, they want to break it up. You have to bring it on a CD. So I made my CD. I like went, I was there, and the guy like literally told me I couldn't sing. Like he was like, yeah, I swear to God. Yeah, he was literally like, yeah, it was a humbling experience. It was very humbling, I'll tell you that. He was like,
just like straightforward. He was just like,
basically like he was like, we just need like singers. Like what did he say to me? He was like, we need like singers that like don't have pitch problems or something. It was something really like, yeah. And honestly, like I like have never said this publicly. So
exclusive. This is exclusive.
I had done an acoustic version of Beyonce's Drunken Love, which I have done in bars before. I have done it like in like small settings, like in situations like that. And if I'm being really honest with myself, it just didn't read. Like, I don't think it like, I don't think it was bad. I wanted to do it like, my whole thought process was like, what can I pick that no other white boy is gonna sing? And I was like, okay, I'm obviously the biggest Beyonce fan you'll ever meet in your life. So I was like,
she's the queen. I mean, she's the queen. I mean, let's be real.
I mean, we do a whole new podcast about that. But so I was like, so basically I said to myself, I was like, all right, so I love Beyonce. Let me do a Beyonce song. And I was like, what? And Drunken Love had like kind of just come out. It was new. Like, this is like in that like Beyonce of that album era. And like, I was like, okay, like I got this. I'm going to sing it. And I was like, let me do like an acoustic version. And honestly, like, it's just one of those things. And like, this like comes with being like a lifetime performer, as you're always learning and you're always growing. And it was like, it just was the wrong, it wasn't the right, it was the wrong song, like the wrong audience for the wrong song. And it definitely wasn't the song I should have started with. In hindsight, I should have started with Rise Up. That's what they found me doing. And I brought Rise Up, but I didn't start with it because I like got in my head when they were like, don't sing a ballad, don't sing a ballad. And I was like, okay, let me do something fun. And like I said, like the Drunken Love is a great performance, but like, it's like a bar performance. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's just that. But so the point is, though, they didn't like me. And it was, and I had like, not to go into detail, I had a very, very, very similar experience with American Idol when I was 18. Like a very, very similar experience where I made it like just before like biting the apple and like getting into it. And it was the wrong song. It was like I sang once again. It was like a song choice thing, and I had gotten in my head. I was a kid, like I was 18, and I had gotten in my head, and like, you know, I had never auditioned for American Idol before. So this was, I walked in, auditioned for American Idol. This was like the first time, and like the way that it works is like you audition for like a bunch of I don't know if they're interns or like whatever, but
or like producers' assistants or whatever. But it's like
and it's like quick, Kyrus. They're like, I don't know if you ever have, but like it's quick. And it's like they're like, you sing for like 2 seconds and then they're like, no. Like,
and they like line you up, right? Is it like, do they have like line you up in straight lines, like go, go, go?
I will say this publicly, that like, I don't know if there's like the same people or if they have like a similar working system, but The Voice compared to American Idol, like The Voice is a well-oiled machine. American Idol is, at least back then, it was a shit show, show. So, and like, this is also like, I'm like dating myself here, but like, this is also like the year Jordan Sparks won. So this was only like their 5th or 6th, like maybe.
Was it still was it Paula, Simon, and Randy at that point?
Yeah. It was still Paula, Simon, Randy. So like that's going that far back. So it's like I was like, there were like, when I auditioned at the Meadowlands, there was like 80,000 people there or something. It was something insane. So they sent me through, so you sing, and they're like, it's literally like, I've been to a bunch of auditions for musical theater, and like I've never been like that quick in my life. You sing, and basically they're like, no, I sing, and I sang like, I'll be your crying shoulder, and I like sang that, and they were like, so she like looked at me, and I was like, and she was like, what's your name? And I was like, Jared. And she was like, what do you do? And at the time I was like a cashier at ShopRite. I was like, I work at ShopRite. She was like, do you like working at ShopRite? And I was like, no. And she was like, okay. And like, she was like, can you sing again? And I was like, yeah. So like at this point, like there's 6 people that were just denied their chance of a lifetime standing a centimeter behind me. We're in the middle of the Meadowlands. Like we're all standing here. Like everyone can hear you. Like it's out in the open. And she's like, yeah, can you sing again? I just sang. I forget what I even said. Like I think like the same old song by the Four Tops or something. And then they literally like, just like on TV, she pulled from a different pad, gave me a yellow ticket, and I like grabbed it. I turned around, I looked at my mom, because my mom was with me, and my mom has a picture of that like exact moment. I'm like standing there holding the yellow ticket, and I like run through. And that like is a much longer story, but that went into then another situation where they give you a specific time, you come, and like they didn't tell me they didn't like my voice. It was just like, they were really nice. And the guy was like, it was Nigel from So You Think You Can Dance.
Yeah.
And he was like, he was like, listen, like, we think you're great. He was like, come back next year. He was like, I think like it's just not what we're looking for right now.
Right.
And I was like, okay. But to circle back to Icon, having those experiences, having had done both of those prior to Icon, like, I understand that it's a different scale, but I was nervous. You know what I mean?
Sure. It's not easy. Like, what people don't realize, like the people that may not have participated in Icon, what people don't realize is that it's nerve-wracking. Like, I try, like, you go in, try not to think about it, right? You're just like, I'm going to go in, I know my song, I'm going to do my thing. I'm most of my friends are here, you know, I'm with a bunch of respected artists. And then you're on the drive there, you're perfectly fine. And then you get there, and then things start to like kind of creep in a little bit, and you're like, no, I'll be fine. And then what they do backstage is they line you up at Hamilton stage, and they line you up in the back, and then you guys like file in all, you know, at one at a time as they introduce you. And like, that's usually when it hits me, when I'm like, wait, what are the words to my song? Do I know the words to my song? I think I know the words to my song. And then you start questioning like all of these things when really you shouldn't. And it gets a lot more nerve-wracking, because especially if you know some of the other performers and you know how good they are. Number one. Number two, when you're on stage while you're watching these other people perform, and you're watching them, and you're just like, I hate it. I don't sound like that.
Bloodsport. Brian and I have become one of the best. I was going to wait to say this so we got to like the next round, but Brian and I, the best prize I got from Icon was Brian and I became good friends. And that was like one of the best things that I got about it. He became one of my closest friends. We talk all the time. We've now done 2 shows since. Like, we're very close, and we really get each other. That was one of the best things. And I think one of the worst things for him is that I share all of my opinions that I couldn't share in the competition, that I couldn't share like participating in it now. And I wish you could beep him in, because I promise you right now that he would answer that. Like, I've said 100 times that I think that is like gladiator blood sport bullshit. I hate it. First of all, so we'll get back. So my night, so finally they had done it. And like, they had asked me twice personally to participate in it. Patrick Strega had reached out to me, and I was like, it just wasn't the right time. I didn't want to lose. I wasn't doing theater as often. Like, since 2018, I promised myself to do 1 show a year, but like, I wasn't doing theater as often. So all I could see to myself was like, I was like, okay, I'm going to be stuck doing this show that like maybe I don't want to do. So I'm like, now I have like a rehearsal schedule and all of this. It was just like a lot that I wasn't really into. So then the year, my friends always make fun of me, because like 2018, I told myself, I was like, I'm going to say yes to everything. Like, anytime somebody asked me to perform, anytime somebody asked me to be a part of something, no matter what the
you're just going to go for it and say yes. You're just going to give it a shot.
I was like, why not? You know what I mean? I love singing, so why am I singing in my bathroom all the time? So I was like, whatever. So I was like, I'm going to do it. And I looked at it like a game. And I said to myself, like, how am I going to win this game? And I, because
you definitely, and for you strategize more. Like, we strategize for that competition more than what people may realize, I think.
And I think that's a good point to bring up, because people like you and me probably do, but then there's other people that don't. There's people that walk in and just sing whatever they want. And you know what? The competition is so random that it's like, sometimes those people make it to the end.
Sure. Absolutely.
And then you have people that are super, super prepared that can't break through semifinals. So it's like, you have these, as I said that, I realized that's you.
No, you're fine. No, it's funny. Brian and I were joking about that yesterday, so it's perfect.
But it's like, so it's like, so I looked at it and I was like, listen, like, what am I going to do? So then I came down to it, and I knew that I was going to like have my face beat like to the gods. I knew I was going to wear something cute. So I knew I could kill it that way. But I was like, what am I going to do as far as performance? You know what I mean? So I had reached out to one of my very dear friends. We worked for Disney together in my early 20s. His name is Cameron Mitchell Bell. And he is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful performer, but he's also a brilliant teacher. And he has a studio, and I think he went to NYU to Tisch. Is that what? So I think he went to Tisch.
and NYU
I
is
don't know
Tisch,
though,
yeah.
because I didn't go to college, so I don't know college. But so I had reached out to him, and I was like, "What do you think I should sing?" And we went through all of these songs, and the first one he said, he was like, "Why don't you sing Home from The Wiz?" And at first I was like, exactly what you said when you opened up the video. Like, I'm like, everyone's going to be like, this fucking white gay boy, like, out here singing Home. Like, you know what I mean? And then I was like, but wait. And like, I had this moment of like, almost like self-empowerment where I was like, but it's me. And I was like, but it's me. And I was like, so I'm going to do it differently. And I was like, I'm going to do it for me. So I worked with Cameron extensively. Like, I probably would like send him videos of myself singing it. Like, I would say at minimum 3 times a week at minimum leading up to
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really intense. And then, so then he would listen, and he would send me back notes. And then we would do video calls where I would sing like lines of it, and he would like take something out or be like, what does this mean to you? How do you interpret it? And it's interesting because watching it back, I watched it like probably before, I showed it to somebody before quarantine. It was probably the last time I watched it. And you can see those choices that he taught me like in it. There's things that I do, and I performed the song countless times since then because it's like kind of become like my thing.
Right.
And I still make those choices because I was like, I'm going to train with him, and I'm going to make sure that this is the best.
It was so clear from watching it that the choices and the feeling and the subtle nuances that song requires, it was there, you know. And I think that's what I love most about it, because like anybody can go up there and like riff their face off and whatever, right? But what I liked about it wasn't just the fact that you could sing the shit out of it. It was the fact that like you had these subtle nuances, these like little moments that it was clear that you understood what the heck you were talking about, and it was clear that that song meant something to you. And I think that's what I connected with the most, because like at first, like whenever people send me videos of people doing Icon, no offense, like sometimes I'll just listen to it, and like especially because I'll probably be doing something, I'll just put my earphones and I'll listen to it, and that's how it started off at first. And like I was like, okay, let me just listen to it. And then as it kept going on, I felt something different, and I'm like, okay, let me check this out. And I like literally rewound it, and I'm like, okay. And then I'm sitting there watching it, and I was transfixed, because like you just had, it was clear that you put the work in, you know, from a physical, mental standpoint to do what you did. And it was beautiful to watch. And like that, I feel like that should be the standard in regards to how to approach something. Just not just for a competition, but anytime that you perform, you know, something, like if the audience is able to see that, then I feel like there's more of a level of respect, even if they're not a trained ear or a trained eye. You know, there's a certain level that it takes the performance up to.
Thank you so much. You're also an incredible performer, so I appreciate that. But I think that with like in relevance to Icon, the thing that you know, like there were so many, and like I love all the formers. I'm close with all of them, so there's no bad blood. But I think that like I had always heard like, okay, well this one won, but I wanted this one to win, and this one won, but I wanted that one to win. And I was like, I said this to myself, and I was like, I'm going to give them no other option. I was like, I'm going to go out there and they're going to vote on who's getting second place. And I was like, and that may sound like a conceited thing. I was like,
to do it that way.
You have to, because at the end of the day, it's like, listen, especially now, it's $10,000.
Yes.
Like for me, like, and that's what I'm saying. And that's like, and this is why I think Brian, like, and I have such a mutual respect, because I'm like, listen, it's a job. Like, I know it doesn't feel like it's a job, but it's like you're signing on to represent this competition for a year. You're going to be involved in the theater for a year. You're going to be doing all this. And you know what? Point blank period. They paid me $5,000 to do that. So at the end of the day, like, I'm going to fucking work for that money. Like, and I don't think everyone approaches it that way.
Right.
And where I said was, I was like, you know, like, you could ask Brian, like, I did that year. Anytime he asked me to perform, whether he was paying me or not, because there were things that I said yes. Absolutely. Because I was like, who am I as the reigning icon to not do this? Like, to not do this. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, I also come from like, you know, I have like my Milian family, like the Milian Mafia, which is a drag family. Like we come from the gay scene, and it's like, if you think the icon competition is difficult, go to a drag pageant and then have a
I can
competition.
only imagine.
You can't imagine. You can't imagine, because it's the icon. Like my brother has now done icon one time, and he's been in 2 drag pageants, and I would almost guarantee you that he would say the drag pageants were harder and more stressful, because it's so cutthroat, and it doesn't matter how good you sing because you're lip syncing to somebody else. And it's like, so it's like, and all that stuff. It's so cutthroat. So I went into it like, this is my drag pageant. This is my Miss Paradise or my Miss Den or my RuPaul's Drag Race. I was like, this is what I'm going to do. So my goal after that first round was give them no other option. You know what I mean? And it's funny that we bring up sitting on stage, because I had to pee in the middle.
That's the worst part, when you have to pee.
I got up.
Can't leave.
I got up and went to the bathroom. I was like, what I won't do. Oh, sorry, my thing. I was like, what I will not do is sit here and piss my pants and then go up there.
That's how you make headlines. That's how you do it.
Yeah. I was like, I have to pee. So it's so funny because my family's texting me. I had it on my phone. So like my family's texting me and they're like, are you okay? My best friend Matthew had come and he was like, what's going on? Like, are you all right? I was like, I'm fine. I just am not going to piss my pants on stage. I'm wearing khakis. So what I'm not
that's just going to come right through. You're going to see all of it.
I was like, if it were black pants, I might consider it.
Right.
So we go, and so I'm going to go into it and I'm like, all right, I'm going to win. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this.
Right.
But still, I don't believe in blind confidence. I think you need tangible reassurance.
Amen. Preach.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you need tangible reassurance. So it's like, think of it like an athlete. It's like, yeah, naturally you're the best runner, but you're still going to train for the Olympics. You're still going to train. You're still going to break your ass. There's never going to be a day when you're sitting. So I said to myself, I was like, you know what? I need people to come. There's an audience vote. You know what I mean? So my boyfriend, Charlie, his family is so incredible. They're such wonderful people. They love me so much. They come to, I'm singing at the opening of an envelope. They're there to see it. So it's like, they were like, yeah, we'll come. I'm thinking it's going to be 10 of them. 35 of them showed up.
That's awesome. Yes.
Yeah. And then my whole family was like 20. So I had like 50 people there that night. So it was like, I kept telling myself, I think what helped me was I kept telling myself, what I'm going to do is no matter what, I have the audience vote. I'm going to sing my face. And I was like, at the end of the day, and you might remember this, it was very important to me to speak to all of the icons the following year before they went out there. Right. And one of my main things that I would say every time is, when you're driving home tonight, make sure that you know that you gave a good performance and you left it on the stage. The judges don't matter. The audience don't matter. The competition doesn't matter. As long as you've given yourself the best performance you can give, that's all that matters. Right, and it's like, you don't want to go home and be like, well, if I had riffed, or if I had belted, or if I had fixed this, maybe I would have.
You're doing yourself a disservice if you do that. You can't think that way, because you're going to be in your brain the entire time.
Until the next year. So it's like, my thing was, I don't spend any time in a negative headspace like that, really, about anything, but especially about singing. Right. And I was like, you know what? I got this. So I went out there and I gave it everything I have. And, you know, like, even after I performed it, like, this was like my first experience with the judges. And they all made good comments, you know, like, they all were like, we wish you riffed a little bit less. And I was like, you know, these people don't know me, because I was like, if my normal riffing is at a 50, this was a solid 7. I was like, so y'all ain't got nothing. I was like, so this is not too much. So Judy actually was like, what made me feel good was, Judy was like, I mean, I guess if I have to critique something, she was like awkward. And I was like, oh, she liked it. She liked it. Yeah. They liked my outfit. They liked the way I look. There were 2 other people there that night that killed it. This one girl, I forget her name, and I feel terrible, but she was wonderful. And she sang I'm Not Afraid of Anything from
Songs.
Yeah. And Kirk was there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he sang Kirk Lambert, and he sang September of '92. And
that's a great song. Yeah,
me too. I love it too. Yeah. I love it too. And I was like, they're both phenomenal. So I was like, at the end of the day, if it doesn't happen, at least I know they're great. You know what I mean? And I was like, and hopefully I get the audience. And then they lined us up, and sure as shit, it was
Yeah.
me, that girl, and Kirk right
Yeah.
there. So even then, I'm telling myself, like, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. And I have a terrible habit. This is a very Capricorn thing, but I have like I have a very terrible habit. The way Capricorns like to like digest the worst case scenario.
Okay.
So then if it happens, we're prepared for it. And if it doesn't, we're relieved.
Right.
So
Okay.
what I kept telling myself was, it's okay if you lose. 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 And then I had just decided I was going to lose. So to go from this confidence in one night to then be like, you're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, whatever. And then when he said my name, I was like, oh, well, I didn't lose. And I was like, so then that like began this whole like thing where it was like, I came to almost every single cut round to see everybody else who I was going to perform against.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, and I was at kind of an advantage because I won the very first round.
Right, you won the first round, yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was a little bit longer my year than it was this last year.
I do remember, yeah. They cut
I had like almost 2 months. I think I won in September, the beginning of September, and I think that it wasn't even until like the end of November that semis were.
Right.
So I had this whole time to like pick my song and work on
it, let it die and then work on it, yeah. And so to kind of like flash forward to what ended up happening. So so you won your first round, and then you went on to semifinals, right? And so you ended up making it via audience save.
Yeah. What you should say is that Kai Garner, Judy Bowman, Jared, what's his last name?
Jared Kellner. Yes.
Yeah, so Kai Garner, Judy Bowman, Jared Kellner, and Megan Ferrantino, and Rich Klein at the time, all did not pick me. That's what you should say, is that none of them picked me. And that's what we should always remember, is that they let me stand up there, Hunger Games style, and did not pick me.
I was right next to you. I remember. I remember.
Because you had that thing. You were on that scooter.
Yes, I could not walk.
Yeah.
I could not walk.
It was like, I remember in that top 8, it was like you, me, Zach Love. I think Brianna was there.
Nikki Ash was in it, I think.
I thought Melissa had made it to that top 8. It was like a good group of us.
It was
you know
a
what
great
I mean?
group.
I remember looking at that top 8 and being like, oh, no matter which way this goes, it's going to be a competition, you know?
Right.
And so then, like, no hard feelings for the judges. Obviously, I won, so I'm not that twisted over it. But so, so it's very, once again, this is another thing I've brought up to Remo, is like, it's very like Hunger Games. Like, you're standing there and you've experienced it, and there's 8 of you, so you know already, okay, numerically, I'm in the top 8. So score-wise, I've been scored in the top 8.
Right.
But there's only 4 judges.
Right.
So it's like
that feeling. Oh my gosh, the feeling at that very moment is insane. It is the most like my anxiety is through the roof. I'm like, ah!
And it's heartbreaking because you're like, because it's like just the time. If it were like a monthly competition, or if it were, it's like, you're like, okay, so I made it this far. Now I have to wait a whole other year. And then like, to be fair, like, and now I have to watch somebody else win what I wanted. Like, I'm out. Like, I can't, like, for me, like, I can't, like,
it's hard.
Yeah. And it's difficult because you want it so bad. You know what I mean? And I think that's why, like, I was so nervous to do it, because I truly don't believe, I think that now, having won and been through it, like, it's different, like, so but I think if you would have asked me then on that night, if I had lost, will you do it again, I think unequivocally my answer would have been no.
Right. And so this is the funny part. So this is what ended up happening. So you made it, so you ended up making it to the finals, because and the person that whoever the audience save was what Richard Klein was supposed to be, that person's mentor, right?
Yeah.
So Richard Klein, he ended up, he was paired up with you, and he ended up booking a tour, I think. Was it like Waitress or something? He ended up like booking the national tour of Waitress. So they were down a mentor. So I get a call from Brian Remo, and he's like, hey, Kai, do you have a second to talk? And I was like, yeah, sure, what's up? And long story short, he had asked me to become one of the mentors because Richard Klein couldn't do the show. And I was like, wait, so I'm going to be mentoring Jared? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, what?
I
and,
think
and
like,
oh my God, it was like, I was like,
Yeah.
this is so cool. And I was flattered that he even like thought of me, you know, for mentor status anyway, let alone that I would get to work with you. And I felt so bad because like the way that the mentorship works is that like the artist will select the songs, and then obviously like the mentor will work with them in any capacity that they can. And I felt so bad because, I mean, once again, I could not walk, which meant that I could not drive. I had ruptured my Achilles, so like
I
it was
remember.
like, it was like I
so
couldn't
bad.
even like drive up because I live in South Jersey. I live by Philly, and you live a little bit north of me. So
I'm like central. Yeah, I'm like by New Brunswick. I'm like right near New Brunswick. Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's not like I could like easily get up there to like
No, that would have been a disaster.
but I'll never forget because we would talk on the phone, we'd talk via text and all of that. And I remember sitting and talking with you one day about, you know, your song choice and how you felt about the song, and there was I did sense like a sense of like a little nervousness. I can't remember exactly what we were talking about, but I remember the conversation being like a little nervousness heading into that about your song choice and all of that, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that like the mentor thing was really weird to me because I am, you know, I've been let down a lot in my life, and for me, like I just don't rely on people, and it's not like but it also, I'm very forgiving too. So it's like it works hand in hand. I don't rely on people, but I get that people have their shit, so I forgive them. So for me, I was like, there is no way that anyone's going to tell me what to sing. So I was like, I'm going to do this. And when they picked Rich is a genius, and he's wonderful, and he's so supportive. And we had talked, and I think now it's different, but I think then he like didn't fully get what I was doing. Like when I was like, oh, I'm going to sing I Am Changing, he was like, wait, what?
Right.
And I was like, no, I'm going to sing it. That's what I'm singing. And I had chosen I Am Changing literally the night that I sang home. That night, I was like, if I make it to finals, I'm singing I Am Changing.
And that's the strategy side of it that we were talking about before. Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember telling myself, like, I was like, okay, then, because I sang As Long As He Needs Me from Oliver in the semifinals, and I did it super legit. Like, I didn't riff at all. And I did that to show them that I could do both. And my thing was more like, one of those, like, you have to reassure yourself kind of moments was I told myself when it came to that in particular, I was like, what I won't do is I didn't want to feel like, oh, should I have sang I Am Changing? And I had spoken to someone, I won't reveal their name because they're a judge, and that's where I'll leave it. But I had sent them both songs, and I was like, I'm either going to sing I Am Changing or As Long As He Needs Me. And the person responded, and they were like, As I Am Changing is a final song, not a semifinal song. So they were like, whatever happens to you, I Am Changing is for the finals. They were like, that's all I'm going to say. They were very professional, but they were like, in my opinion, I Am Changing is something that somebody sings as their final performance, an icon, not as their semi. So I was like, all right. So when I had chosen those songs, I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And Rich was like, I think you should sing I'm Alive from Next to Normal. And I was like, and he was like, no, I really, really do. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. Because I had played the part. I've played that role before. I love the song. It's a great song.
Yeah,
so I was like,
it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, so I decided that. And then I get this call from Brian. Once again, we're not friends at this point. We're acquaintances. No negativity, but like, I didn't even know he had my phone number kind of thing. Because pause on that. This is a funny little thing. But I had only done, Brian and I had only spoken when y'all were doing Rent. They couldn't find an Angel. And I have played Angel before. I don't know if you know this. But I have played Angel before. And Melissa, who is one of my dearest friends on earth, I love her
to death, yes.
Yeah. Melissa I didn't know Brian from Adam. And Melissa was like, call Jared. She was like, Jared will do it. Like, you should have Jared do it. Whatever. And we went back and forth, and I was, you know, at that place where I was like, oh, rehearsals. I was like, if they're cool with me doing, like, I was like, I played the part. And I was like, if they're cool with me coming in like the last 2 weeks and tech week, I'm down. And Melissa was like, all right, I'll talk to him. And then like 2 weeks later, she's like, have you heard anything? Because, you know, Brian auditions like 8 years before his show. So it was like all the time. So she was like, Melissa was like, will you do it? And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, let me know what's up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And she was like, okay, have you heard from Brian? And I was like, no. Like, I was like, he hasn't messaged me at all. She was like, he's saying that he's messaging you. And I was like, Melissa, I'm going to lie about that. Like, I was like, you can look at my messages.
Right.
Like, he's not messaging me. I have an active Facebook of Jared Piccone, not Jared Milian.
Oh,
and
I see. Okay.
he was messaging that Facebook.
Right.
So then finally, when I got a hold of him, they had already cast Michael, who I love dearly as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, but you and I almost were in that show together.
So close. So close. We're going to work together one day. It's going to happen.
So then I get to finals and I'm like determined to pick my song. He calls me and tells me Rich is out. And I thought he was like, but I found a new mentor for you. And I was like, cool, who is it? Positive he was going to say Patrick Storega.
Oh, sure.
Super happy about that. Patrick has known me since I'm like 2 years old.
Right.
So like I've known Patrick forever. I was like, Patrick will take me to the gold. I was like, that's it. He's like, no, it's Kyrus. And I was like, I'm like, listen, I think Kyrus is brilliant. I was like, didn't Kyrus just lose in the semifinals though? And he was like, yeah, don't worry. And I was like, so this guy that I've technically just beat is now going to help. I was like, this seems like a setup. And I was like, I don't know. It was this feeling of like, and I immediately after talking to you for 2 seconds, I trusted you. Yeah. But it was this moment of, I was like, you know what I mean? Like when you're
I get it. I would have been the same way, 100%.
Yeah, it's like we were just competing against one another.
Yes.
But what I tell everyone is like, I think a big reason, you kind of don't play by the rules. And I think that like something you did in your talkbacks, and I'll never forget this. It made me cry. I might cry now. I'll never forget it. Was that like everyone else, like Kai and Judy and Megan, and they were all very like, I don't think Megan was in it yet, but they were, oh no, Megan was.
She was, yeah, she was there.
Yeah. But so they were all very diplomatic. They were all very like, you've brought everything, you're on the stage, to their own contestants, They're like, you were great, you were great. You looked at me and you were like, the first thing you said, you were like, Jared, in front of all these people, you were like, you are going to win. And I was like, and it was this feeling of, I'm going to win. Like, it was this feeling of like, it was one of the first moments in the competition where I was like, I'm going to win. Because it was like, for him to have the balls to say that in front of like the 600 people that are here.
There was a lot of people there that night, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, in front of the other contestants, like, listen, like, you could have played the PC card, you know what I mean? And you could have been like, oh, you're great. But you literally looked at me and you were like, you are going to win.
Because,
and, like,
I mean, and this is nothing against, like, the other performers that were there, because they, like, especially my best friend, like, Nikki was a part of this. And, we have had extensive conversations.
Who's wonderful.
Oh, my God.
It was wonderful. And Justin Luckenbaugh, who's phenomenal. And Rich Hennessy, who's phenomenal.
Right.
They were all
and every one of them are continuing to do their thing. And they're ridiculously, I mean, Nikki, if you're watching, I love you.
Oh, yeah. Nikki's a star.
But, like, I mean, I remember you sang the song, and I was like, I mean, this is not a competition anymore, and I was so confident because you were just, it was just so beautiful to watch. And I mean, part of that was also, obviously I was rooting for you, but like, I just knew, like, sometimes you just know, you just know. And
it
like,
was this feeling like I'm like smoking. I probably like never really like thanked you for that, but like, it was this feeling that I needed. It was like this kick in the ass that I was just begging someone to say it because I believed it. I was looking in the mirror, I was like, you're going to win. And everyone else was like, it's a tough competition. And I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I was like, I need someone to say it. Like, it's different from your family. Do you know what I mean? And like, not to bring it up, but like immediately I was like, this guy who, for all intents and purposes, I beat in this competition. And I'm like, is now supporting me. And I was like, and he's telling me in front of his friends, his peers, and these competitors, I'm going to win. Not like whatever happens tonight, not like you did a great job. He was like, you looked at me and you were like, I told you this backstage and I'm going to tell it to you now. And I was like, that God loves me, that you're proud of me. What is it? And you were like, you're going to win. And I was like,
and I meant every word, because like, I
was so overwhelmed. Like, if there's videos of that moment, you can see me immediately start crying because I was so overwhelmed, because it was this weight off my shoulders of like, because listen, like I'm like I'm not from the best neighborhood. Like, I didn't grow up privileged, like, outside of like my white privilege. Like, I didn't grow up like having like a silver spoon, you know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so
Mhm.
for me, like, it's funny because they do an interview with like the Westfield Gazette or something right after
Yes.
you win. Like, right after you win, they grab you.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm famous. Like, they pull you right out. And the woman was like, what's the first thought that went through your head? And I was like, I'm going to get emotional, but I was like, I can like afford like Christmas gifts, because that was like the first thing, that was like the reason I was doing it, was I was like, $5,000 is I'll be able to buy Charlie whatever he wants for Christmas. Like, I'll be able to get my brother like something really cool.
Right.
I can buy all my friends things, because it's like, Christmas has never been to me about what it is for everyone else, because like I feel like everyone gets these like it's about family, and I was like, yeah, it is. I was like, but like, you don't know what it's like to feel like you can't buy your family Christmas gifts. You don't know what it's like to like look at Christmas like a huge expense.
Right.
And you're like, okay, like I think prior to winning, I had set aside like $500. That was my max. Like, it was my max. So when he was like, you win, and they hand you this check, I was like, oh my God, like I can pay all these, like, it wasn't even like, oh, what am I going to get for myself? Like, and that sounds so like, I want attention for it, but it was one of these things where like, it's all I could think was like, oh, so like I was competing because like I wanted to do the show and I wanted to get back into theater and I wanted to be a part of it, but like I was competing for just like a few months of financial stability, and like I was just hoping that like if I won, like this would hold me over and give me the money that I needed. And like honestly, like that, when you had like assured me that I was going to win, it was like, this could be real. And like, and then I had like another moment backstage with Brian that we still talk about to this day, where I forget who else was singing, but Brian came up to me and he was like, you all right? You good? And I couldn't think of anything else to say to him, but I looked at him and I was like, yeah, I really want to fucking win. Like, all I could say to him. And like, he still talks about it to this day, but like, I literally was like, I really want to fucking win. And it was like, it was not even like a callous thing. It was like, it's such a long night. Like, it's such a long drawn. Like,
it's gotten shorter since then. It's gotten way shorter. But I mean, I remember back in the day, man, the shows used to be long.
It's like, and I'll be like, I'm like, Brian Remo. There are 10 singers. There are 12 singers. I need you to tell me why this is longer than an hour.
Right.
And it's like, and listen, like if I had to hear Brian tell that story about the coffee and the cigarette
and the dream and the dream,
I'm like, if I had to hear him tell me this story one more time before he handed me a check for $5,000, I was going to kill myself, because I was literally like, it wasn't even like, it's not an interesting story. I'm like, how much more of this night? And then they bring you out there. They bring the top 5, the 5 finalists, and they sit you in chairs on the stage. And then you have to listen to 42 of these freeholders and these different people from the community talk about you. And they go through every single one. 30 minutes. It's like 30 minutes. And you're sitting there and I'm like, does the check have my name on it?
Right.
Or am I going?
And what's funny is that you're sitting on stage and you like, obviously these thoughts are in your head, but you can't like visibly be like,
I'm like
you have the whole time you have to be like, oh, thank you so much. Like
and it's like, listen, I'm not trying to have one of those like the best actress does not go to you Oscar moments where they pan for your face and you're like, "Fuck!" Like I was like, well, I'm trying to keep this game face on, because you know what? Like honestly, like Nikki had done the competition like 2 times. Nikki, I think, is one of the only people that's made it to finals like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, she made it 2 years in a row. Yeah.
And Nikki, honestly, like I'm a huge fan of hers, always have been. So I was like, not to discredit the other 3 performers, but she was the one I was watching, because I was like, not only does she have this incredible vocal ability, I was like, but she's got the sympathy factor. This is my first time.
I remember thinking, I was like, because like, I remember thinking, I'm like, if for some reason Jared doesn't win, it better be Nikki. It better be. Otherwise, I don't know what people are looking for at all, right? Because if it's not you and it's not her, like nothing against the other performers, because they're all brilliant. They are all brilliant. And if you're watching, I'm not shitting on you at all. Trust me, I love all of you. I remember saying, I was like, if it's not Jared, it better be Nikki. I swear to God, it better be.
It was honestly like, from the bottom of my heart, it was harder to go through this year. it was more difficult to watch my brother do it and watch my brother not win. It was like much more difficult for me this year because
we got to spend a lot of time together because he was also we performed on the same initial round, I believe.
Yeah.
And then semifinals together.
No. You performed. You both got
Sing for Your Life. That's what it was.
You both got Sing for Your Life. Because they didn't have Sing for Your Life my year. You just went straight through.
Right. Yeah, we both made it to Sing for Your Life, which is another anxiety round. And, and then we both sang together. So that's really when we met, and then we both made it through, and then we both sang together during semifinals.
It was difficult, because I love Melissa so much. I had just done Into the Woods with Sarah, my little red. I had just done that with her. I've known Erica for years and years. Obviously, I know Zach Love for years and years. It was difficult because you want to root for everyone, but it was harder. It was harder watch because I couldn't win it for him.
Right.
I couldn't just go in there and make it happen. And I think that I was such an omnipresence at the theater, and I still kind of am, but everyone there knows me because I made it that way. That I felt like he was just set up at a disadvantage because I felt like I feel like a lot of times people want to stick things to me. Right. And I think I think because I have such a brazen attitude and because I'm so tell it like it is and I'm so in your face, I find often that people, and because for all intents and purposes, I'm relatively talented. So I think
you're just a little talented, I guess, So
I think that with those two combination, people are like, he can't have that attitude and be that talented. I have to knock him down a peg.
It's funny you say that because I actually wrote down here. I'll read you exactly what I wrote here. I said, what things I admire about Jared: your skill, your swag, and your confidence. I'll screenshot. I'm looking at it right now. That's what I wrote, because I think sometimes that people often will think somebody that has confidence in their ability. I think sometimes people will be like, oh, he's a dick or she's a dick. Right. But no, I feel like there is a such thing as a confidence that you need to have as a performer, because if you go out there in the world of performing and you don't have that oomph, that hey, I can do this and I can do this well
and get paid for it,
you're going to fail.
Yeah, 100%.
Fail.
And it's and the thing is I know exactly. My brother actually is one of the most brilliant people I've ever met in my life. And my brother always says he hates when people are treat people how you want to be treated. And he's like, no, treat people how they want to be treated.
Oh, so that's great. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I consistently try to curate an environment where people understand the energy I want to receive. So I think that's why people are so comfortable touching me and people are so comfortable being close to me, because I'm honest. And I think that that's why people don't like me too. And I think that the thing is I was raised where to never care what people think about me, just to care how you make people feel. Right. So for me, I just don't like bullshit. So I'm very much let's cut through this and let's say what it really is. So yeah, in a setting I did want my brother to win. I think Erica's a phenomenal performer, but do I have my own opinions on the way things went down that night? Absolutely.
Well, and it's you're a human being, and you're allowed to have thoughts and feelings.
And I feel I think that what I love about Brian is ever changing with the competition. He's we can make it better. We can do so. It's never stuck how
he doesn't become. He's not content. He always wants to find ways to improve. Yeah.
And absolutely. My thing is I do feel respectfully that there are ways that he could make it a little more fair. And I think there are ways, because Tyler did the exact same things that I did. He played the game the exact same way I did. He sang the types of songs I sang. He looked incredible.
Beautiful. Beautiful is an understatement.
Just stunning. So it's the formula worked for me, but it didn't work for him. So it's one of those things where I'm always there should be a way, I think what you're wearing should count. I think that should have a vote. I think your talkbacks should have a bracket. And I don't know if they do. I've never been privy to the scoring, but it's one of those things where I think that there's ways to strain the competition so that it could be a little bit tighter in who wins and who doesn't.
Right.
I also think it would be fun. I love them all, but I also think it would be fun to change the judges every year.
Yes, I agree.
I think it would be, and it's nothing personal against them. You know what I mean? If you want to keep Kai as like the Randy Jackson that stays every season, I think that's fine too. But I think it would be fresh to have people in there, like, you know, like even like Howard Whitmore, somebody that like
there's plenty of people that would be good judges, and I think
even somebody like you if you weren't doing it, or like Julie Gallorenzo, like people that have this credibility that. Like, that's what I've always said. I think Howard would be a wonderful icon judge. And I think, like, people like that, like, you don't got to keep it that way forever, but you know what I mean? Go get, like, Gary Cohen, who runs Plays in the Park in Edison. Have him come in and judge.
Because I feel like sometimes the judges may, and this may be another reason why, because you talked about how your brother may have been at a disadvantage, right? And I'm not saying that the judge, because I don't know, but do you think at some point the judges might have been like, I can't pick him because his brother won last year?
I don't know if it was I can't pick him because my brother won last year, or if it was just like, because I love all of them. Kai is one of the lights of my life.
Yeah, so I love it. Yeah, let me just say, I respect every single one of those judges. I've talked to them all personally.
Them all, and they know this. Like they know that I don't think it was but I think it was like almost this subconscious thing where. Almost like, you know how like on American Idol for a minute, it was like when Kelly Clarkson won, and then it came down to like the next year it was like Ruben Clay and Kimberly Locke.
Right.
I wanted Kimberly Locke to win so bad because she was phenomenal. And like, I remember thinking like Kelly Clarkson won last year, a girl's not going to win this year.
Right.
So it's like,
especially if singing similar styles. Oh yeah.
I think it was like that kind of a thing. Not like a we don't want Tyler to win, but I think it was this thing in their head where even though he used our government name, and even though he tried to do it like separate from me, I was so present. Like I was backstage, I was there. I think it was like it was difficult for them. I don't think they did it on purpose, but I do think that somewhere in their mind was like, okay, well, Jared won last year. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's like, I don't think, and honestly, like I think everything happens for a reason, because look at the year that he would have been reigning in if he won. You know what I mean? Like here we are quarantined. He would have done every performance that was asked of him. Like I sang for the mayor of Broadway. I sang for like they raised a pride flag in June that I sang for. Like
did you sing at like the Christmas stuff too? Right? Did you?
Yeah, I always I do the Christmas stuff. It's like this year like I hosted the Christmas thing for Brian because he couldn't do it. So like I got to host it. Like it's like different stuff that like you just like you get to do that. Like I unfortunately for Erica, I don't know if she's gonna get to do. So it's like. From my brother's perspective, it's one of those things where I'm like, you know what? God has a plan. There was a reason. And honestly, like, I think in Tyler's story, I think it will be more of a victory for him to have lost once and then to come back and win.
Like I also tell people all the time, because this is how I approach it when it comes to Icon or any sort of like competition or performance or anything like that, is that you learn from it, right? And you just become better. So technically, like whenever I'm a part of the Icon experience, I always feel like I won, because I know that like when I go up there, I may not be like the best singer in the world. I never ever think that I'm the best singer in the world. However, I know that every time I walk up on that stage, I'm going to give a performance. I'm going to
And let me tell you, like this year when you did that, what was the song you did for Sing for Your Life?
Oh God.
It was like legit. It was something like almost legit.
Oh, I don't remember, but I know I don't remember what I sang, but yes, I don't remember.
It was something. I'm just gonna piss me off. It was something like it was something really fun and like it was. I forget what it was, but I remember being like, this motherfucker's playing the game. I remember watching it and I was like, he knows what he's doing. And I said that to my brother. I was like, because that's never a song that people would think Kyrus Keenan Westcott was going to sing. And I was like, and he came out here and killed it. And I remember my friends that I was there with were like, that was amazing. And I was like, it was. I'm like, because it's like when people do stuff like that, like when you, like, you know, like a lot of people, like for Melissa, like Melissa sang The Wizard and I in her finals. And a lot of people were like, why would you sing that? Why would you sing that? And I was like, why not? I'm like, because no one else is going to sing it. And I'm like, and you're going to go out there and they're going to hear the beginning of it and they're going to be like, oh, all right, here she goes. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's like certain things like that. I'm like, that's a chance you should take. Even though it didn't win, I was so proud. Even though she didn't win, I was so proud of her for going out there and like singing a song from Wicked. Like, it's just, I think, difficult. Like, and I don't mean to sound like callous, but it's like, I've never lost it. So I don't know how to really speak to what that is. Because it's like, for me, like, when Tyler lost, Tyler was fine. We got home, we were eating McDonald's. He was like, I'm good. He's like, I'm good. Don't worry. He's like, I'm going to go back next year and kill it. But it's like, for somebody like Melissa, who has been involved so many times, it was like, it's like, she has every right to be heartbroken. It's like, it's $5,000. And like somebody like Melissa, like she would say this, she doesn't even do it for the money. She does it for the show. And it's like, you just want to do it. You want to perform. You want to do it. And it's like, it's hard. It's like people look at it as this like frivolous thing. And I'm like, if you've never done it, keep your mouth closed. I was like, cause you have no idea how nerve wracking it is. And you think it's nothing, but you see like MVPs of Jersey theater in that back room and they're sweating. Everybody's sweating. Cause it's like,
it's the craziest feeling in the world. But you know what? I wouldn't trade that experience for anything, because like I know that I've become a better performer, number one. Number two, I get to hang out with people that I don't often get to see. I joke with Brian all the time. I'm like, I do the competition every year so I don't have to pay for a ticket, you know, because like you're going to like see a show with like all these brilliant performers, and it's like, well, I might as well, you know, get to share the stage with them for a couple minutes, because like and possibly get a Rich Kowalski headshot out of it.
Yeah, I saw that. But it's also like, and it's also like the feedback. You know what I mean? Like Judy Bowman is an accomplished casting director. She's
a great connection.
To sit there and like have Judy Bowman like critiquing you. Jared Kellner has a whole acting studio. Kai, his resume is like a CVS receipt. Like these are people that have credibility. So it's like you're getting their honest feedback, and it's like, that to me is priceless. It's hard to take. That's the thing. Whenever people are like, I want to do it, I'm like, okay, why?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you know, like Lyle, you know Lyle.
I do.
Lyle is like one of my best friends too, Lyle Dungy, and he has never done it. And I'm always like, do it. And he's like, why? I'm scared. I'm nervous. And I'm like, I mean, okay, if you want to be the kind of person that is always like, what would have happened? You know what I mean? I'm like, because what's the worst case scenario? You're not losing any money doing it. You don't have to pay $5,000 to do it. They don't hit you with like a negative $5,000 after you lose. It's like, you get to come back next year. And you know what, Brian Remo? I almost wish I would have lost, because I would have came back next year and won $10,000. Because I'm like, with the way the money is like going up and up and up and up, it's like, what's gonna hurt you from trying it? You know what I mean?
Just give it a shot. You have nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Nothing to lose and everything to gain. And it's like, and just like you said, you get to meet people and you get to hone your craft. And like, you know what? Like, and you know what? If you have somebody in the audience, you get a solid video of a performance.
Yes, you do. Put it up on your YouTube, put it up on your Facebook, and guess what? All of your friends and family that want to see you perform, they hit that like button, and you won with them, and that's all. Exactly. That's what matters.
I think the people that leave Icon with a broken heart are the people that went into it with dishonest intentions. And I think if you go into it, and that's another thing, I'm like, if you don't want to work with Brian, work at the UC PAC, don't do it.
Yes.
Like if you're not ready to like, not jump when Brian says jump, but like if Brian's like, hey, I want to work on this, you should be like, so do I. Like if you want, you know what I mean? If you're not ready to represent the theater, you shouldn't do it.
Don't do it. Absolutely.
It's like you're the face of this competition for a whole year. Quite literally, they put your face everywhere.
Yes.
So I'm like, if you don't, like my fucking face is still to this day in the back of their main playbill. So it's like your face is everywhere. Like earn it. You won the competition, so now what? And I think that he leaves it that way to separate the wheat from the chaff. But honestly, like I would do it again in a heartbeat. Like
I told Brian offline yesterday. I was like, listen, I'll be there. I think they have something different planned for this year, obviously given the circumstance, but I'll be there. 100% I'll be there. Listen, Jared, I love you. Oh my God.
I love you too.
Oh my God. We need to do this more often. Just
I'm
even
always available.
grab
ever
a
need a
cocktail, you know, just like.
You ever need a fill-in? You want somebody to come in to bullshit about anything? I'm always available
Yes,
for you.
absolutely. I love you to death. Listen, do you have any just final words of just wisdom? I asked Brian the other day, what is like your motivational word of the day or series of words? Do you have anything that, you know, that stands out that you would want to say to people?
So my two daily, people laugh at this, so be ready, but like my two daily mantras that I will always tell myself at the beginning and the end of every day is the first thing I will tell myself is you are enough.
Yeah.
So I tell myself every day in the mirror, you are enough. And I will always look at myself and I will say, because, you know, I 100% have body dysmorphia. So I'm always working out. I'm always watching what I eat. I'm always like, you know, like being a gay man, it's like a whole different set of like this world that we live in that's so vapid and so hell-bent on appearance. So I'm constantly like, you are enough. And then my second one, and this is my favorite mantra, is it's a variation of like the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Yes.
And what I always say is there is nothing in life that you cannot bitch and moan about enough to get what you want. So I'm like, if you want something, speak up, because there's going to be a million voices from people all around you that are like, why is Jared always complaining? Why is Jared always asking for more? Why is Jared always saying that he doesn't like it? And I'm
both
like,
externally and internally. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm like, because if I want something and there's nothing physical in the way, why can't I have it?
Go for it. There's not go for it. There's
I'm
nothing.
always like,
we have one chance to get this thing right. We have one chance to get this thing right.
So
why
like,
not give it everything you have?
And that's why I really appreciate your hustle, because I'm always like, he's killing it on TikTok, he's killing it on Instagram, on Facebook, because it's like, you know what? Why not? What if one of those things blows up and
you have
nothing
nothing to lose, dude. My whole thing, if I can make one person smile, you know, like it doesn't matter whether one person sees it or 1,000 or 10,000. I don't care. If I can make one person smile, dude, then all of this
and
is.
it's like this is like a RuPaul quote, but like people's opinions of you are just none of your business. So it's like if people have opinions about what you're doing, like anytime someone's ever had like a negative opinion about my hustle or my tenacity or the way that I get things, I'm always like, another quote, this is a Milian Mafia quote, and that is like, are you sure that I'm too much or are you just not enough?
I'm like, I love that.
And I think it's important before you think that someone's being too much, that are you not just criticizing the not enoughness within yourself? And it's like, I always am like, if you want attention, command it. If you want something, get it. And it's like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You know what I mean? I always am able to say like, I want this, or this is something that I don't feel right about, or I don't feel comfortable. And that's why my circle of people are people that meet me on a level where we understand each other. So that's my life. That's my sage life advice.
I love your knowledge. I love your skill. I love you as a person. And,
Thank you. I love you too.
I appreciate you more than you probably realize, you know, and I thank you so much for being a part of this.
Anytime.
And I can't wait until this quarantine is done so we can just get together and hang out and just
hug and hug.
No, I miss hugging. I miss hugging so much. Like that's
I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky because like Tyler and Charlie are here, so I still have like this physical thing. But my heart breaks for people that are living alone because I'm sure they're feeling that. So I get that. But thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you so much, and I love you to death. And if there's anything that I can do to help make your quarantine any better, you know, you have my number, you have my email, you have all of that jazz. Please hit me up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. Once again, this is Kyrus. This is Jared. We had a wonderful conversation, the first of many, I'm sure. If you like this, please be sure to follow me on Instagram and on Facebook at The Vibe with Kai. You can also follow me on Snapchat at Kyrus Keenan and on TikTok at Kyrus Keenan, where we go live every Wednesday at 8 p.m. or visit my website at thevibewithkai.com. Jared, once again, thank you so much. I love you.
Thank you.
Everybody else, I love you. Be safe. Wash your hands. Wash your face. All that jazz. I love you. Goodbye.
Thanks, Kai.
Bye.
Bye.